Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis call in preparation for June 28th, 2017. Just a quick disclaimer. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. If you have questions about your individual investment needs, I recommend you talk to your investment advisor. Let's take a look at our Forex factory here. So we had three central bankers talking today. As a result, we saw big, huge moves. So let's start with ECB. So President Draghi essentially said that they were going to look at removing the stimulus from the market. So anytime they talk about paring the stimulus down, which means they are taking liquidity away from the market, so they won't be injecting so much money into the economy. So that is a good thing from currency perspective, not always from the stock perspective, because stock markets want the central banks to inject more money into the economy, whereas for the Forex markets, or for the currency strength, money needs to be removed from the market. So that's what we saw with ECB today. So this is the first time ECB President Draghi has actually come out and said that. So there was a lot of speculation about this. So now that's the first time they have started talking about it openly now. So after this, the next thing will be monetary policy tightening. So this is the first step towards monetary policy tightening. They haven't started talking about interest rate hikes yet, but if they start this, so that's coming down the road. Bank of England here. Bank of England, we saw from the previous MPC member votes, more members are interested in doing an interest rate hike in terms of UK there. So as a result of that, we are seeing positive stimulus in the British pound. So we're seeing positive move there. And then we have Fed Chair Yellen. So she did not say that that Fed was going to stop the interest rate hike. So they're supposed to do 3 this year. They've already done 2. The data numbers that are coming out are not very positive. As a result, market does not have as much confidence in the Fed doing interest rate hikes. So she said that they were on track. However, other FOMC members, they do not think that there should be any further interest rate hikes, and there was really no reason that they saw to tighten the monetary policy further. So this is where there is a bit of divergence in the stance here. So we'll see how that plays out. But overall, US dollar really got beaten up, even with positive data. This is quite positive. We did not see US dollar basically could not find its feet today. So overall, very, very bullish close for everything against the US dollar. So we may see that throughout the rest of the week. We may see that the whole sentiment about negative US dollar sentiment. We do have, again, tomorrow we have central banks talking again. So this time we have Bank of Canada, we have ECB President Draghi again, we have Bank of England, Bank of Japan. So 4 central banks. Again, that means that we could see more volatility in the market, and this is right into the equities open. So I would say be careful because of the added volatility that's likely to come into the market at this point. 4 of them speaking at about the same time. So that is craziness. So we're not going to be taking any trades into this mess, because we saw very, very tight ranges over the last couple of weeks. Prices haven't done very much. Over the last week, we saw prices move very, very little. And today we talked about this was a calm before the storm. And so this was the big move that tends to happen after the price get into such tight ranges. So let's move on to the charts here. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot of important news, but this is critical for tomorrow. Another thing that has kept the US dollar under pressure was IMF. So IMF basically cut US growth forecast. They said that the plan that was put forward by President Trump is actually, they do not have confidence in it. So they do not think that President Trump will be able to implement that plan, or that his assumptions that are being taken into consideration based on their what U.S. is forecasting are unrealistic. So that's why they cut that forecast for the growth. And when you cut the forecast for the growth, the results are not very good. So that's another reason why we saw the US dollar drop, even though Yellen basically said that they're on track for rate hikes. So that's what's going on here. So US dollar got hit by that, then everything else had positive outcomes, and that's why we saw US dollar basically take such a big hit. So let's move on to the charts here. Looking at Euro US dollar, first of all, very, very bullish close. We were looking at this 1300 level, which was important support and resistance level. It just blew through that. So if we take a look at our smaller time frame, let's go on to perhaps 5 minutes. So this is something interesting to be seen here. We have had a bit of a pullback. It blew through that 1300 level. So let's say slightly higher. So that's our 1300 level. It broke above, and this is a pullback, very good pullback, pulled right into on the other side of this, and then went into the same direction, so went up higher. So this was a very nice back test trade, and maybe this is something we can cover in one of our weekly webinar. So this is what we want to see in the breakout trades when we go long. So price breaks through the level, pulls back, stays above that level on the other side of it. So basically this resistance becomes support, and then price continues on forward. So based on the daily close here, we are looking for further move up, very, very bullish close. But in this case, because it was such a big move to the upside, we are looking for a bit of a pullback before prices move up further. So we are very, very bullish. So it's 175 pip move, which is much bigger. So on one day, the price moved more than it moved in the last almost a month, over a month actually. So this is now price has found some momentum. So we're looking for further move to the upside. In terms of our target, this 113.80 is the first target, but 1420, this pin here, that's our target, where that's more realistic target to the upside. And then if price continues on, we could go even further into this level right here, which is a 1450-ish level. So at first we are going to target this one here, 142.60 or 50 area to the upside, but the more immediate target is 113.80, and I had to squish the chart so we could actually see where those areas are coming from. So let's go on to our lower time frame. So this is where we are in terms of our pullback. So I do think we could get a deeper pullback here into 11300. So we could see price come back, do a double bottom here, and then push up higher. So if you take a look at 1 hour perspective, we could likely see price come into this 11300 level, or even into 1280 level, which is our pivot point. So if we were to draw our fibs on this, because we have had a good solid move now, as we can see, pivot point lines up with 38% pullback. So we could see price pull back into 112.80, or more realistically into 1300, which lines up with 23% pullback. So those will be the levels to watch. And targets, we were looking at 113.82. Slightly above that is our R1 at 11400, which also lines up with 127 extension in terms of our fibs. So that's a good, so about 11400, that would be a good target for a move to the upside. So in this case, we're looking for a pullback potentially into 11300. If it holds above that, we're looking for price to go back into or go up into 11400. So bullish on euro US dollar. Let's take a look at the pound. Again, this is a large move, something that we haven't seen in a few days. Now we are up into this area. It is important support and resistance level, but it is a bullish close here as well. So in this case, we're looking for a pullback into 127.80 level, which is right here, the bottom of these pins here, and then a further move to the upside. So this is sort of the move that we need to look for, that move. So 127.80 pullback and then a further move to the upside. The bias is certainly bullish. We could come back lower into this area, 127.50. And do keep in mind, again, we have the central banks tomorrow. And based on what the comments that come out of those meetings, we could see, again, volatility. So, right? So the targets and things like that could get blown. The levels could get blown through. So do keep that in mind. So in this case, we're looking for a pullback either into 127.80 or 127.50, and then another move to the upside, but the bias is to the upside here. Here's our 4 hour. As we can see, we are into this resistance right here, 12800, and we went all the way to 128.60 level back into here. So now the thing is, though, this inefficiency has started getting filled. So we could see a pullback here, and then we could see a further move up to fill this inefficiency. It has taken some time, but we are into that level. So we could see one of these moves up. Right into this previous support and resistance level into 129.60 or 129.80 area. So that's what we're looking for, this inefficiency to get filled up here. But then again, we could see a pullback into this level, 127.50, and then a further move to the upside. So looking at 1 hour, this is where we are. This is the move from today. So let's draw our quick fibs. Okay, so we are right into that 38% level, but I think we could move a little bit lower all the way into this one right here. So we could see price pull back deeper and then go up further. So do need to keep an eye on this one, but overall though, we are looking for a further move to the upside, so bullish on this one. Dollar CAD here, it finally has broken through this level, 13200. It closed below that. Now it's moving further down. It's into 131.60 level. So first target in this one will be 131.45 area at the bottom here. But now our bias has shifted from range bound to a further move to the downside. So this here will be the next support and resistance level. So 131.20 level will be the target to the downside, and a further below that, then we would be looking for a 130.50 level. So we are just looking for a price to come back down. So the bias on this is to the downside. The commodities haven't been that strong overall. So that's something to keep in mind. Aussie and New Zealand dollar have not been as strong. But Bank of Canada has been more bullish on their currency and the economy than US has been. And as a result, we are seeing, because Bank of Canada talked about reducing monetary stimulus as well, so, and decreasing the, tightening the monetary policy. So that's why Canadian dollar has been relatively strong compared to Aussie and New Zealand dollar. So keep that in mind. So bias here is to the downside, and we'll keep those targets. So here's our 4 hour. As we can see, price had trouble with this area. It has broken down to the downside. So we're looking for 131.40 and then further move to the downside. Here we are from 1 hour. As we can see, price managed to break through, did a bit of a pullback, and now it's moving further. So we are certainly looking for another move to the downside. I think we have to go back to the daily here because levels will be hard to find. So 131.20 will be the target, and then below that 130.50. I don't think we'll come to 130.50 tomorrow, but that is something we will keep on our charts. Aussie US dollar here. This one, we have a daily pin bar, so it has not been as strong as dollar, as the Canadian dollar. So this one here, it's interesting. So we have 1 hour, a daily pin bar. Daily pin bar generally means that we're looking for a further move to the downside. This one, though, we do need to keep in perspective that the US dollar is not as strong. So those two factors kind of cancel each other. So I would be cautious with this. With technical, from purely technical perspective, we are looking for a move to the downside. In terms of pullback, we could see one of these. So price could go and test the same level again, 7,600, and then we could see a drop in that. But purely based on technicals, we are looking at the biases to the downside on this. But again, be cautious with this one because US dollar from fundamentals perspective is not very strong. So here is what we have. This is 76, the 12 level. So I think, let's see, where are we getting? So this is where this level is coming from. So we'll keep that. We'll keep that here. But we could see price go up higher to do another one of these. So 0.7630 could act as a resistance level as well. This is a stronger resistance level, so we could even maybe not even take this into account. So here's another option. This is what we saw with the euro as well, right? If the price breaks up, we could pull back and do one of these moves because everything else is strong against the US dollar. When something is lagging like this, it could just line up a little bit later. So it did not line up today, but we could see it line up tomorrow. So do keep that in mind. So we're looking for 76.34 area as a resistance and technical biases to the downside. From 1 hour perspective, this is where we are. So we'll have to just wait and see. We'll keep our bias to the downside on this, and we'll mark this 76.12 and 76.34 level as potential levels to sell from. New Zealand dollar. Very big pin. This is from technical perspective, this is certainly rejection. This is the level we had put in place yesterday, and it went right into this. This is where it's coming from previous pin bars, went right into it, and we have a big bearish pin bar looking for further move to the downside. In this case, in terms of pullback, we may see something into this area, which is 0.7317 or 20-ish area. So the type of move that we may expect here would be one of these, right? So price goes into 0.7320 area, rejects that level, and then drops from there. The target would be 72.20, which is this level to the downside. So this is where price had struggled. So we're looking for price to come into this target here, and further down it may come into 0.7200. So those will be the two targets to the downside. So the bias based on daily is to the downside, but do look for that pullback first. So here we are. So we may have this pullback that we just talked about into this area. So push up and then a drop in this. Looking at 1 hour, this is where price is. This is more bearish. See this 1 hour pin bar, huge 1 hour pin bar, and then we saw price drop from there. It's staying below the pivot. If it holds below the pivot, we are looking for further move to the downside. Then 72.20 is the first target, and below that we're looking for that 7,200 level, which is right around this here. So biases to the downside. Let's have a quick look at pound yen here. Yen yen has been very, very weak, so everything's gone up against it. And especially with the positive news out of pound and euro, big, huge moves in both of those pairs. So this is where we are. It is into resistance. Pound yen is into resistance. So we're looking for a pullback. So in this case, 143.00 is where we could see the price come back down. We do have Bank of Japan tomorrow. So keep that in mind. This is another currency that could see a lot of volatility ahead of that. But Bank of Japan is never really bullish on their own currency. They're always trying to talk their currency down, and usually anytime we have Bank of Japan coming up, they never say anything good. As a result, Japanese yen normally tanks. But now that's normal, right? But we have four central banks in total. So I would say leading up to or getting close to all those four pairs, I would just say it's best to not trade these crosses going into it. But prior to that, I'm looking for it to move back into 143.00 level and then maybe move up higher. So kind of something like this, price comes here, rejects, and then moves up higher, because the daily close is very, very bullish. It blew through this 142.50 area we had marked. We were bullish on this yesterday. This is our trend line. It took off from there, so pulled back into the trend line and then took off from there. So that's the bullish move we saw as a result of yesterday. This is our trend line here, and as we can see, price came down, touched it, and then this is where we were yesterday when we did the analysis. So it pulled back and just pushed off of there. So this is 143 level. So we're looking for price to come back into this level and then do a further move to the upside. But do mind the resistance here. So the target would be 144. So there's still 100 pips in the move, right? So it's not bad one to keep an eye on. Dollar yen finally managed to get through this resistance level. It was hovering around there, had pulled back, and then it finally managed to go through. So right now we are pulling back into that level, but I think we could come back lower here into this 111.80 level and then do another move to the upside, but based on daily, very bullish. And now we're looking for next move up into 113.00 level, which will then fill this inefficiency right here. And so that would be our target to the upside. So looking for dollar yen bullish, but a good long entry could be at 111.80. So that would be the level to watch. Euro here, big move to the upside. Very, very bullish. This is huge move up. So we just need to condense our charts a bit to really see what's going on here. Next move, we are looking for bullish move here as well, and a 128.20-ish area will be the next target to the upside. But prior to that, again, because it has been a big move, we could see some profit taking here and then a further move to the upside. So looking for a pullback into 126.50 area. So keep that in mind, and then we're looking for a further move up on this one as well into 128.20. EURCAD here, this is one of the pairs I was looking for a pullback. Not much of a pullback. Very, very bullish, just like all the euro crosses. We have come out of this range that it was trading in for a while. Now we are back up here. And in this one, we're looking for a pullback into 149.00. So a little bit lower into this level. So 149.00 pullback and then a further move to the upside, but very bullish in this here as well. It is into resistance right here. So do keep that in mind as these pullbacks happen. So if we are going to look for a move ahead, like further to the upside, we have to make sure this does one of those breakout trades, right? So we need to see, so move that we're looking for is this pullback into 149.00, break above, and then a pullback and a further move up. So if you take a trade here and 148.96, so about 149.00, the target would be 149.50. If it goes above that, then we are looking to trade long once it stays above that 149.65 level, and then a further move to the upside. So just keep that in mind. Any other questions? Let's take a quick look at Euro Aussie here. Again, very, very bullish. We are into resistance right over there, which is our previous support and resistance area. In this case as well, this is very bullish, so we are certainly looking for another move to the upside. The target would be 150.30 or further up 150.80-ish area. So that will be the target to the upside. But in terms of pullback, likely area for a pullback is 149.00 and then a further move to the upside. So again, we want to see a break of this for it to be long above this level. But overall, very, very bullish move on the daily. Just blew through the range it was trading in. And now we are bullish on that. So just, I'll move this a little bit higher so we know where our target is. Okay, any questions or anything else to add? All right, so we'll call it a wrap.